Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this Nature's Wisdom Circle. I am so glad to be here with you today as we dive into a very popular and misunderstood topic of detoxing. We're going to talk about what it truly means and how perfectly it actually aligns with the literal and energetic qualities of late autumn. I'm also going to share with you 5 really simple tips to support your own holistic detox this season and beyond, because truly it is a lifestyle, if you will. And that sounds kind of cliche. You'll understand more as we dive into this. But living a sort of detox supporting lifestyle as a way to support and nourish resilience and vibrant health and joy lifelong in a sustainable way. Late autumn, as you have heard me discuss many times over many years, if you've been hanging out with me long enough, late autumn invites us to slow down and simplify and turn inward. So we can see this in nature as nature's drawing inward. There's a pulling back of energy, there's a deceleration, there's an invitation to reflect and to release what's not needed anymore. And we can see that in the way that the trees are shedding their leaves and so forth. And on InnerSpark's Wheel of the Year, this season is represented by the Death Doula archetype. So the InnerSpark's Wheel of the Year is 8 archetypes that correspond with seasons, and it's literally and energetically. So there's this literal aspect of the seasons, whether we're talking about the day itself, which has all the seasons, or the year. Like there's the literal tangible aspect. I can see it, I can feel it, I can perceive it through my senses. There's also the very energetic and subtle, more nuanced invitation of the seasons. And so on InnerSpark's Wheel of the Year, we have that organized by different archetypes that we have created. And so this late autumn time is the Death Doula. And this archetype holds space for endings and transformation and the clearing out that is necessary to create room for new life and growth. So participating in that beautiful, never-ending spiral of life, the circle of life. And so we will have that in our own lifetime. And then, of course, we are on our own life cycle from birth to death as well. So many layers and layers of seasons happening here. So with the Death Doula specifically, and hang on, because we're going to get into detox. You're probably like, I thought we were talking about detox today. We are. Just hang in there. So the Death Doula encourages this letting go, this making room for what actually nourishes and what actually nourishes now. So what nourishes now may not be what nourished 5 months ago, 5 years ago. And so it's this invitation to be with what is so and to strip away and let go so that we can honor the needs as they're arising and shifting and transforming. So we are invited to strip away and to prepare for the deep rest of winter that's to come. And if you saw the article that I wrote a few weeks ago, this is that time to prepare for deep rest. And it's just like how we would prepare for sleep. Yeah, you're not going to go all day long and be all keyed up and, like that kind of go daytime energy and then go lay down and expect to go right to sleep. It's not going to happen. So there's this preparation for deep rest. And this is just what late autumn is. And so this preparation for this deep rejuvenation and restoration that will nourish and replenish us in winter. And so this is where that idea of detox comes in. So in many ways, late autumn is a detox. It's nature's detox. It's an invitation for us to detox. It's a very literal and metaphorical process of clearing out, of letting go, and preparing for that stillness and renewal. So the more that we prepare for that replenishment, the more replenishing it will be. If we can strip away the excess and strip away the nonsense, the more nourishment that we can receive, the more healing that can take place. And this is echoed across many traditions and many different lineages, especially in Ayurveda, for example, the deep practice of panchakarma. The true replenishment and healing happens after the stripping away. So we detox to then replenish. Now, let's get into like what detox is, right? So when we hear detox, we think of trendy cleanses, maybe green juices, and lots of questionable physical practices that can be harmful and unnecessarily harsh, and in some extreme cases, actually deadly. You know, we've heard a lot of these different stories of people following different leaders and gurus and whatnots and doing things and actually losing their lives because of it. So that is not in any way what I am talking about today, nor will it ever be what I am talking about. And if it is, then I've been body snatched, and somebody please come, help. So that's not what we're talking about here. What I'm referring to is a true holistic detox that really goes beyond the physical. So sure, doing the, drinking some green juice and doing, a simple mono diet, like a khichdi reset for a couple of days. These can all be wonderful, wonderful practices that I really highly recommend, especially something like a khichdi reset. And a true holistic detox is more than that. It really encompasses the mind and the emotions and the energy. It's about removing anything that's toxic or burdensome from our system as a whole. So it's not about fragmenting and compartmentalizing and like, oh, I'm detoxing. I'm going to drink green juices for 3 days, but I'm still going to, not look at my mind or my emotions and carry around these really harmful beliefs about myself and still engage in all the things that are overburdening my system, like abusing my senses, taking in too much sensory input, but I'm drinking green juice, so I'm detoxing. No, sorry, it does not work that way. It is truly intended and is a multidimensional, deeply healing process that creates space. So I invite you to start thinking about it as more of a broader, holistic kind of lifestyle. And that's where I was getting into creating a sort of lifestyle that's just supporting this gentle detox on a daily basis. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. That's what we're going to explore more of. So how we can support ourselves on every level to live this resilience nourishing lifestyle. And so this late autumn vibe you can tune into and really take inspiration from the trees shedding their leaves to clear space for more nourishment and growth. And oh, by the way, those leaves nourish and support that growth. Right? So it's this process of clearing space and also learning to use those things that we are releasing as gifts. So repurposing the challenge into the gift, repurposing whether it's a physical illness or a thought pattern or an emotion, probably all of them, they're all tied together, they all come together because again, we're not compartmentalized, fragmented beings. We're invited now to shed on every level. So looking at the thoughts, the emotions, the habits, and maybe even the relationships that are draining us. And addressing that mental clutter and that emotional baggage and the energetic drains that keep us feeling stuck and keep us from living the life that we truly, truly want to live. A true detox begins in the mind and the emotions. Before we focus on the physical, we have to clear our internal landscape. Now, it's not necessarily that linear. So those things that are living in the internal realms, those subtle unseen parts of us, are impacting and influencing our physical experience of life. So our body and our health, and like the life that we are living, the relationships that we have, the things that we will and won't tolerate. It all goes together, and then it all kind of creates a cycle. So it's like what cycle and what patterns am I feeding? And that's why it's not going to most likely give you the results that you're looking for if you're continually fixated on only the physical. I know so many people, and honestly, I used to be one of them many, many moons ago, that tried and did all of the things. All of the things. Oh, let's green juice. Oh, look, here's this powdery whatever stuff in this jar, and you mix it with water, and you just do that, the shakes for like 5 days, and it's going to be radical. Like, no. No. Those old beliefs and the doubts and the unresolved emotions are blocking the flow of energy, blocking health, blocking healing, and also driving you to continually seek this external magical fix. Because I guarantee you that the resilience and the health and the peace and the vitality and the contentment and the joy and the clarity and the confidence and the creativity and all the things that you envision your ideal self with, living their best life, quote unquote, that's the popular thing these days, is not going to come by continually abusing your poor body. It's just not. I've been there, done that. Got the t-shirt, didn't work. So these hidden layers keep us ungrounded and block our growth and evolution. And when we can start to really clear those out and work with those, real true healing begins to take place. So we cannot negate that aspect. It won't work. I've worked with a lot of people for about a decade now. It doesn't work. It does not work that way. We must care for the body, you know? So then conversely, you're like, okay, Devon, well, I can just, by what you're saying, what I'm hearing, I can continue my crappy physical health choices and like just clear my mind, and that's good. Well, no, like we need both, and I can pretty much guarantee you that as you start to work with those parts, you're not going to want those physical unsupportive choices anymore either. So it all goes together. All goes together. And ideally, we're creating sort of this lifestyle. So here this comes up again, and I'm going to share with you some practices. So this is where we're headed now. We're creating a lifestyle, a daily practice, a daily foundation of living and of self-care, like I teach in the InnerSpark method, Everyday Rhythms. And this framework for living that is oriented around 5 natural practices that are kind of aligned with and synced with the natural rhythm of the day. This is us living a lifestyle that is simply supporting and encouraging the natural detoxification process of the body, the mind, the emotions, the energy on a daily basis. The body, so we can, take it to the physical for a little bit. The physical body is a master detoxer. The liver is brilliant. The entire body is just brilliant beyond our comprehension. We could study it for lifetimes and lifetimes and still never be able to fully understand and appreciate its intricacies and complexities, and yet simplicity. It really knows what to do when we get out of the way and support it. So supporting the physical body, supporting the mind, the emotions, the energy, it all flows together. They're not separate again. And so as we come into these ways of being and these practices, pardon me, my baby brother is texting me. When we come into this way of living and have these practices in our life, we don't really need extra fancy, crazy stuff. The desire to kind of chase things outside of ourselves, the yogis would call that rajasic energy, is settled, as well as the kind of urge that we might feel because of physical symptoms, emotional symptoms that we're experiencing that might drive us to want to do and pursue some of the more rigid or trendy kind of detoxes because we're like looking for a fix because we're feeling unwell. So getting off of that kind of cycle, that roller coaster of like it's like a just Sanskrit words are coming to me. I'm like, English, Devon, come on. But that Rajas and Tamas cycle, that cycle of like externally seeking, driving, wanting to do all the things, wanting all the fixes, gonna do this, gonna do that, go, 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 perform, do better, gotta fix myself, gotta heal. And then you're like exhausted and you've done all the things. And then you're kind of back to just that F it mentality and like, why bother? Things are hard, they're heavy. I don't know what to do. Like, imagine ditching that cycle because it sucks. It's not fun. It is a very inefficient use of our energy and contributes to disease very, very wonderfully. So, if that's what you're looking for, then keep it up. I want to leave you with some simple practices that you can start to play with. So, these are here to ground us and to rebalance us. And again, balance is a dynamic state. It's not a place to get. It's not a destination. It's not like, oh, I'm going to get to that place of balance, work-life balance, and balance my health and balance, balance, balance. It's not a place to get to. It's not a static, fixed place. It is a dynamic continuum. And we can, again, take this lesson from the seasons and from the earth. The earth is in balance twice a year for like no time at all at that split moment of the equinoxes at fall and spring. That's it. And then there's a shifting, at the fall equinox, a downshift towards the winter solstice before it starts to wax again with more energy and more light. And then, back to the little balance point at the spring equinox as she continues to accelerate. So it's not a static place, right? So these practices will support you in living a detoxifying lifestyle and dancing with that dynamic continuum of balance. So clearing the mind and the emotions, setting some time each day to do some self-reflection. And again, at this time, really tuning into the Death Doula and her invitation to let go and clear space for what's no longer needed, and letting go of old patterns from the way that you speak about yourself or to yourself, to the beliefs that you hold about yourself. What beliefs are holding you down right now, and what patterns keep coming up? So taking some time for that self-reflection every day. Second thing would be supporting physical digestion. So digestion, briefly, because like this, I could go on about this for forever. It's one of my most favorite topics. The energy that we use for digestion is the same. This is according to Ayurveda. It's the same fire, the same metabolic transformative capacity that we use for food, that we also use for life. So it is a very this transformative process that's the same for the most subtle to the most gross. So the most subtle meaning all of those thoughts, experiences, etc., to the gross meaning like the tangible things that I'm putting into my body. So supporting this digestion. And really in autumn, it's a beautiful time to focus on supporting that physical digestion. I mean, it is all the time. But this time of year offers us those grounding, lovely, nourishing, kind of more root vegetables and the getting in with the sweet taste and the grounding. So those whole grains and those warming spices, the pumpkins and the sweet potatoes and the carrots and the beets. So doing some of that deeper physical nourishment and cleansing, cleaning up the diet and supporting digestion. And like I said, if doing something more physical is calling to you, letting it be gentle and letting it be nourishing. So there's no need for these punitive, harsh, crazy things that are actually really quite disturbing to the system, because it's such a big pendulum swing from like, you might live a kind of standard American diet and then like, I'm gonna just fast on juices for days. Like that is very, very imbalancing and disorienting to the system. So doing something simpler like a few days of kitchery, beautiful and pretty darn accessible and good for most everybody. And when we do things like that, we also get this 1-2 punch, because we get to see what our attachments are. So what does it feel like, the prospect for you of going a day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe even 5 days without something that you might be having now on a daily basis that you know isn't serving you? So this could be processed sugar, caffeine, processed and packaged foods, things of that nature. And so just tuning in, like, how does it feel to be without those things? What beliefs and stories do we have that we might be using those things to kind of hide from? We're hiding behind those attachments. And when we lose those band-aids, those crutches, we learn a lot about ourselves and our mind and the things that we're holding on to. It can be very revealing and very liberating, because then we realize, like, wow, this thing has such power over me. Why? It's just sugar, or it's just a cup of coffee. Now, yes, there is the physical dependency that can arise, and that is born of the mind. So using that as a way of exploring what's there. And again, honoring the Death Doula with some simple rituals for releasing and letting go. You can do some candle gazing, some fire ceremonies. We shared an awesome one in the community here for a Samhain season, late autumn fire ritual to release what is no longer serving you, to clear and detox your mind and your heart and allow the energy to continue to flow freely. Another one is moving your body. Movement is a powerful detox tool, not just physically, but emotionally, energetically, everything. It's the breath flowing, the prana flowing, the life force. It helps us to process emotions and relieve tension, and reminds us how to flow with change and to let go of stagnant energy. And bringing in your awareness and your intention adds some real extra magic. So moving from the inside out and meeting yourself where you are, rather than from an arbitrary external place. So what do I mean by that? Measuring with outside things, like, oh, I need to get X amount of this type of exercise, or I need to burn calories, or I need to look a certain way. None of that. There's no more room for that. That's so 5 years ago. We're over that. 10 years, we never needed it. We're done. We're over it. And then lastly, the breath. The breath is probably the simplest, most accessible detox tool that we have that supports us on every level. And it's as simple as taking a few moments every day to breathe deeply and intentionally. You can use visualizations to bring in fresh energy, nourishing every cell, and letting the old stale energy leave with every exhale. So again, when we orient our lives around the wisdom and rhythms of nature by incorporating these essential practices daily, whole foods, rest, intentional breathing, mindful movement, and self-reflection, we really support this ongoing process that's naturally occurring of detoxification in the body, mind, emotions, and energy for this true holistic experience. Detox shouldn't be an event or a thing we do with some punitive practices, something to make up for bad behavior. I've known so many people like, oh, I just got back from vacation, time to detox. I went crazy and now I'm gonna, swing the pendulum the other way. What is that doing to our systems? No, we don't need it. It's creating more harm than good. So true detox should be this daily process of supporting the movement of energy and the clearing of the old. And yes, there are times and places when we can go a little deeper, like I said, with something like a kitchery reset for multiple days, aligning with the seasons. These transitional seasons of spring and autumn are wonderful to go more deeply into that. And again, getting out of it just being in the physical, because the true magic and beauty and healing comes from detoxifying the mind and the emotions and the energy, truly. And really looking at those places that you have attachments to things. Using this Death Doula energy to remind us that there is such liberation and freedom in release and giving mindful, intentional death to things that we're done with. So getting rid of what's weighing us down, releasing what we're ready to let go of, letting go of attachments, and creating a life that feels aligned and nourishing this season and every day, so that we can really live the way that we want to live. Yeah. So thank you for joining me today. I encourage you to take some time this week to try one or two of these practices and to reflect on what you're ready to release. And I really want to continue this conversation with you in the naturally resilient and thriving community. And if you would like to go deeper and want additional support, I invite you to explore the InnerSpark Method Everyday Rhythms program for more and really truly step-by-step guidance to deepen your journey of healing and self-discovery with nature's wisdoms to cultivate holistic resilience for life. And you can learn more at the innersparkmethod.com/everydayrhythms. So let's continue the conversation, let's continue the journey, and really leaning into the wisdom of the Death Doula and embracing the power of true holistic detox on every level this late autumn time and always. And I look forward to seeing you next time.